All right. Now let's get into this Mount Rushmore. Now explain to us what the deal with this Mount Rushmore question is.
So at Why So Sidious, we like to do top fives. We don't really do Mount Rushmores because honestly, people don't do Mount Rushmores correctly. Mount Rushmore isn't the 4 best presidents in U.S. history. They're all up there for a reason. They all depict a different part of America's history. So we have George Washington, who is the birth of the country, Thomas Jefferson, who is the growth of the United States, Teddy Roosevelt was the development, and Abraham Lincoln was the preservation. So we're going to take that and use it for Marvel terms. In the MCU, did you take comics into effect, or are you just going movies?
Just MCU.
Okay. So, who do you think is responsible for the birth of the MCU? I feel like it's kind of obvious. So what would you say, though?
It is obvious to be Iron Man, but you could put Captain America there, I think, for sure.
Yeah, I put Iron Man.
Yeah. Now, my Mount Rushmore, it doesn't have Captain America anywhere, but it should. I feel like it needs Captain America, but for specifically like growth, development, and preservation, I picked someone else. So, if it was real, a real Mount Rushmore of the MCU, I would put him on there. Mm-hmm. But for the categories here, I have other characters.
Right. But yeah, Iron Man's got to be the birth, the first movie, the most notable character, the person who was there for the whole thing. Like, it's got to be him.
Yeah.
And what about the growth? Who kind of, it says Thomas Jefferson, did the Louisiana Purchase, kind of expanding the U.S. into a bigger area, buying more land. So who took it to another level?
Oh, I was thinking of growth in different terms. So I actually have Loki as the growth of the MCU, because now I do stand by that, but I didn't consider like the expansion of the MCU. Now I'm going to try to think of that while I hear your answers, but I picked Loki for growth just because it shows that this isn't just punching and kicking and villains and heroes. This was a man introduced as a villain in the first phase in 2 different movies.
Yeah.
And the growth of the MCU, he ended up becoming like one of the most beneficial characters as the god of time, and his arc led to him becoming more heroic until Loki season 1 and 2. He was full-on hero, I think. Full-on good guy. Mm-hmm. And that personal growth and the MCU's growth in its characters and where they're willing to go with their characters, and that they're never just established as good or bad. That they can grow, or they could shrink, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, Loki, man. He's holding all time together for everybody now, and he started as a villain.
That's fair. I actually picked Captain America for the growth.
Okay.
Because First Avenger isn't a very well-received movie. I enjoy it. It's definitely lower on my list, but the expectations aren't that high. But the character development of Captain America, the growth he had as a character throughout the MCU, where by the end, Infinity War Endgame, he's right up there with Tony Stark as our favorite person in all the movies. And I wanted to put Winter Soldier at first just because that was like that movie almost like took things to a whole nother level. It was like, oh shit, like Captain America doesn't have to be this silly comic book character, like he can be in a real life situation. So it's got to be Cap, and he has to be up there.
He does have to be up there. The only reason that stopped me from putting Cap is he's gone now and he's done. Where these other stories, they're still going. He was the Mount Rushmore. If it was Phase, the Infinity Saga, 1,000%. I would probably put him as preservation or something.
Right.
And
okay,
dude,
so next. Go ahead.
Well, sorry, but I was just going to say they took such a corny comic book character and made him one of the most likable characters in the MCU, like top 3. I don't even, there's not a lot of comics where I really like Captain America in. He's actually kind of a thorn in the side a lot of the times with his righteousness. Like his Winter Soldier comics and his Civil War stuff when he dies, all that is like really, really, really good. But it's about the only Captain America comics that I enjoy, and even his presence in other comics, I only enjoy 50% of the time. He's not the best character, but in the MCU, he was absolutely one of the best.
The sidebar, that's what James Gunn needs to do with Superman. The same thing.
Yeah, 1,000%. The difference is I think Superman is a solid comic book character. Been doing a lot of reading on him, and he's actually really solid. He doesn't have that righteousness thing that you would think he has. All he does is what he thinks is best for his family and, the world, I guess. But he's less like, how do I say it? He's less, I guess, campy than you would think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. James Gunn has to make him believable and likable and not so righteous.
Exactly. And Teddy Roosevelt, of course, is up there for the development, which could be kind of, it's like it's kind of similar to growth, but it says, Teddy Roosevelt, I think he, expanded kind of the industrial expansion of America more, making more money for us, basically.
Yeah. I'm surprised they don't have Dwight Eisenhower on there for just his highway thing alone.
Right? He kind of deserves it.
Dude, that almost makes me like more okay with paying taxes. Like, you just built roads all across this country. I can go drive to Florida, Montana. I could drive through the damn mountains, through the deserts. Like, that's really useful. And we just consider it like we deserve it and it's free and it's our privilege. But that took a lot. That was a huge project that made our lives infinitely easier.
Well, I-80 goes all the way across the country. You could just drive on I-80 east and go from California to the East Coast.
Yeah, there's a couple of highways like that. I mean, and there's what's crazy is I went to college in Montana, this place called Butte, and it was on Highway 15. And I'm like 2,000 miles away from that city now, and I live on Highway 15. Did I say 18? It was 15.
No, you said 15.
I literally live on the same highway I did 5 years ago, but 2,000 miles away. It's so crazy.
That's wild.
Like, and Google Maps has it as the fastest route too. If I went to Butte, I would not need directions for the 2,000 miles. I would just take Highway 15 the whole way and end up in Butte.
That's crazy,
right?
All right, so who you got for this though? Who's the development part for you?
I put Wanda.
Okay.
Wanda Maximoff for the development. She was such a key character. Again, starting as a villain, then becoming a hero, but then kind of going back to villain. Her attachment to the Avengers, her attachment to the Infinity Stones, her attachment to Vision, and she's continuing on that path of development. Like, her ripples through the Marvel Universe are continuing to develop the Marvel Universe.
Right.
When we just heard about Ultron coming back, and WandaVision being the first of a trilogy with Agatha and then Vision Quest, so I also think she's going to come back. But her character itself had so much development, and her story really kind of symbolizes the development of the MCU along the way. So,
yeah, that's a good one. I went in a totally different direction, and I slightly cheated at the same time, but we have the Guardians of the Galaxy.
I want 6 more heads.
They're just kind of one little impacted, smaller head.
That's
but
hella funny.
Just because it was expanding to new genres that we've never seen before, with, like the real comedy, and also a team of characters we've never really heard of before. Didn't think they'd be a success, and they're one of the most memorable teams up with the Avengers now. So it's got to be the Guardians for me.
I love that. I actually really wanted to put them on here too for. I consider them, I think, for development also.
Yeah.
Because it developed the space side of things. It brought Thanos to the table. Yeah. It brought in another Infinity Stone, and their development as a team was really solid too. And you got so much, like Thanos' daughters are on the team. Peter Quill's from Earth. Mm-hmm. I like the tech stuff going on. Tony Stark and Rocket Raccoon and the banter there.
Yeah. Yeah, good
nice.
pick. Thank you, me. And the last one, Abraham Lincoln, honest Abe himself, and he is up there for the preservation of the country, of course, bringing it to new, better days, ending slavery, of course, or kind of ending slavery. It took a little bit longer than that, but who's up there for preservation for you?
It's like, slavery. Now it's just human trafficking that's under our nose that America's the biggest buyer of on the planet. Shit. Hate it. All right, my preservation pick is Doctor Strange. Not only, like he told Tony, he literally preserves our reality, but I guess that sums it up. But Doctor Strange preserving the MCU as a new character in Phase 2 or 3 even. He was introduced in Phase 3. And his preservation of the Marvel Universe, holding reality together, and now he's probably going to be essential to stopping incursions.
Yeah.
So he literally preserves the universe's reality, and he has preserved... It's like he is probably one of the top 3 biggest characters that are still around that could like be on the Avengers still. So that's preservation.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. He's up there on the bigger name on the card.
Yeah.
I put Thanos.
Ooh.
Because
hell
what
yeah.
is comics without a villain? What is
Yes.
the MCU without a villain? Like, he was the perfect ending to the Infinity Saga. So, like, and I feel like I had to put one villain up there because, like I said, I mean, villains are just as important as the heroes when you want a good movie like that, so...
Just put Stalin on Rushmore. Thank you, Stalin, for bringing us together.
Oh my gosh.
No, that's sick. And dude, like, in a world where everyone hated all the MCU villains, the whole story led to one of the best villains of all time.
Mm-hmm.
That's preserving the damn universe. Because if you ended with a shitty villain, you didn't preserve your universe. People would have fallen off.
Exactly.
He really like established the MCU as one of the greatest long-term stories ever told.
Mm-hmm. So I got Iron Man, Captain America, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Thanos.
Iron Man, Loki, Wanda, Doctor Strange. Got a lot of sorcery up there.
There you go. Hell yeah.
But in real life, Captain America belongs on there for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'd probably change him for Wanda if it was real life.
Nope, it's set in stone, literally. That was fun.
Yeah. You hear oh man, I just saw a really sad post about how the Indians like worshipped that mountain that they ended up carving white men into.
Oh no.
And it was like super important to them. But then like when we stole that land, we just started carving it up and it was pretty sad.
Nice. And it's a lot smaller than you expect it to be. It's not as
Really?
like, yeah, when you like see like wide angle shots of it, it's not like this like massive head like you think. It's still like a great feat.
Have you seen it in person?
No.
Okay. Have you seen the Grand Canyon?
No, I have not seen the Grand
What a
Canyon.
loser. Have you been to Vegas?
Yeah, I've seen Vegas.
I haven't been to Vegas, actually. I live 6 hours from there, too. I've seen the Grand Canyon. I have not seen Mount Rushmore.
I've seen Niagara Falls.
Oh, that's sick. I've seen Glacier National Park.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I've been
and
to
Yellow-
Yosemite.
And Yellowstone.
Yeah, Yellowstone's pretty cool.
Yeah. It was crazy. I've been to Washington, D.C.
That's not that great.
Yeah, it's just kind of a city. It is cool, though. The architecture is badass.
Oh, yeah,
It was way cooler than I expected it to be, actually.